Hey friends, Steve Guttenberg here, and I am the Audiophiliac. And today I want to talk about Damon Krukowski's article that ran on the Pitchfork website a few years ago, and it's called Drop the Bass, The Case Against Subwoofers. That's a catchy title. I like subwoofers. I like subwoofers for home theater where you need explosions and spaceships, blah, blah, blah. Yes, of course, for home theater and for movie theaters for that matter, subwoofers are part of the sound of movies, no doubt about it. But music, that's a tougher nut for me. Because, if you have speakers that make enough bass on their own, and I would say any speaker that has a 5-inch or larger woofer, just to come up with a number, and you're not crazy about bass and your room isn't gigantic, it probably makes enough bass on its own. And certainly a speaker with a 6-inch woofer or an 8-inch woofer probably makes enough bass on its own. And Damon's article, though, and Damon, by the way, was a drummer, and he was in a band called Galaxy 500, which was in the late 80s, early 90s, one of my favorite bands of that period. And he just says there's too much bass. That bass in live music, he talks about live music a lot in this article, can be overwhelming. It's just a physical thing, which I get why people would like it. But it's interesting that this guy says it's too much. It's too much bass. It's just out of control. So I've had my dalliances with subwoofers at home, not for reviews necessarily, that I lived with, and I had two really, really good ones at different times. I had a Rel Storm 3 subwoofer, and I also had a JL Audio E110 sub. Those are great subs, and I use them with actually very full range speakers. I use them first with a Vocal Mini Utopia speaker. I had Magnapan 3.6s and 3.7s. I had Dyne Audio Special 25 speakers. I had speakers that made plenty of bass on their own. I just wanted that extra bottom, that extra extension to the lowest octaves. And that's what those subwoofers gave me. Except the catch is that I was always fiddling with them, because the balance between the sub and the speakers was always not quite right. It was either too little bass or too much bass, or there was some phase cancellation. And I realized in the end that I just didn't need it. I was better off without it. I was willing to sacrifice that very, very, very bottom, that under 40 hertz bass, just not to have that distraction all the time of what is the subwoofer doing? It isn't helping or hurting, or basically is it distracting me from listening to music? That really was, pardon the pun, the bottom line was it isn't really necessary. I figured that out on my own long before I read Damon Krukowski's article. But Damon is a real thinker, and the way he just puts this all together, he quotes some musicians in his article that I can't name drop right now, but basically even people who were really live, concert musicians who were into a lot of bass in their concerts who actually didn't use subwoofers at home because they just didn't feel it was necessary. It wasn't adding, it was more distracting for them as well, just like me. So, as always, I'd like to hear your feedback about subs with music, not with home theater. I get it, home theater, subs are a really good thing. But for music, and you have speakers that aren't minuscule, does the subwoofer help or hurt? That is the question for today. Please leave a comment. Please like my videos. Please share them. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like what I'm doing here. And I hope to see you back again very, very soon. Actually, tomorrow. See ya.